All right. Can everybody hear me?
They're muted, so they nod their heads. You're
All
good
right.
to go.
You can hear me?
I can
Okay.
hear you, so they can hear you.
Okay, good. Hi, again, I'm Stephanie Griffith. I'm with TrueNorth Wellness Services. I'm director of the substance abuse treatment, and I've also been the student assistance program director. I've been providing SAP services since 1997. We serve schools in York and Adams County. I have 13 liaisons, including myself. We cover 22 public districts and 4 private. That includes some charter schools, and we cover some elementary schools that have contracted with us. We quite a mix of rural and suburban. We have York City, which is a higher concentration, I guess the biggest city in the 2 counties, but we have quite a few school districts that are very out in the middle of nowhere, kind of, not quite as isolated, but very small districts, small towns, not a lot going on in those areas. So we have quite a variety. My liaisons, I have mental health and drug and alcohol liaisons. So we do assessments with the students. We also do a drug and alcohol screen and level of care assessment with the drug and alcohol kids that are referred to us. That's according to the SCA guidelines. That we started using the screener in just past January. So far, we've had 222 students we've screened. The liaisons were a little resistant at first. Something new, they thought it was going to be something more work to do. But then as they started using it, they found they like it, and they're getting a better response. They're getting more information from the students than they were specifically just asking them the questions outright. Students feel more comfortable not saying some of these things out loud. So the students have been very receptive to it. Haven't had problems with the schools. Basically, they just refer the kids to us and have us do whatever. They just want us to take care of the assessments. So they're happy with what we're doing. So next slide. These are the ages of the students that we screened, and I didn't say not all of our liaisons are using this because we have quite a few more students that we've served, but they haven't started the process yet. But as you can see, our breakdown, we do go younger than 11, but we primarily hit in the 13 to 15 age range. So we have middle and high school students, some elementary. There's a higher referral rate with 9th grade students, which would be the 14 and 15. Gender breakdown seems almost exactly the same as our Amanda's was, with a higher percentage of male and female, and 1% transgender and 1% doesn't know. And that's been fairly consistent with just the referrals in general that we get. Next slide. The results that we were getting, we're showing more answers with suicidal ideation, 28% with a history, 48% with moderate to severe depression, 59% significant anxiety, 50% was at risk for PTSD, which I was seeing that as I'm seeing depression not always as the #1 symptom anymore. I'm seeing more significant anxiety and trauma. So these screens are showing that too. And it's also, it indicated 6% substance abuse, which the kids don't like to admit that, but I think with the screening tool, they are more comfortable answering those questions. All right, next slide. So we've been very happy with this. We've gained more information from the students. We've had, like I said before, they're more comfortable disclosing. We do, I don't think I mentioned, we see between 13, 14, 1,500 students in the school year. That's broken down between SAP, or the mental health, and the drug and alcohol. So this is just a small representation, but I think it's very representative of what we'll see with other quarters covered. We've been able to identify more mental health and substance use concerns by using the screening tool. And I think even though we had some resistance in the beginning from my liaisons, I think they are actually very happy with it, and I'm looking forward to more that we can do in the future with it. So,
Great. So
any other questions? Who has some questions?
I'm gonna unmute them now. So
Okay.
any questions for Stephanie? Thank you, Stephanie. That was a great presentation. Any questions for Stephanie?
No.
No?
No questions? I mean, somebody has to have a question.
Somebody's got to have a question.
Okay, I'll give you a question. It's Sue again.
Okay. Hi.
In terms, do you have access to your county pays data?
Yes.
How does that 6% in substance abuse relate to what you're getting in your pays data? I thought that would kind of be interesting. We're having a hard time getting the city schools to do the pays.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I know most, just about, there's between the districts, there's a few schools that aren't on board with the pays, and I don't have that data in front of me, but I know it's about that. Might be a little, I think it's higher. The pays report from higher, but the pays is broken down more with alcohol, marijuana, different substances. And I think there's some underreporting. We're talking with the kids, especially in like Adams County, that's the main social activity. I hate to say that, but there's not a lot of that things for them to do. So I don't know how many are afraid or just they don't answer those questions. So that's, but it is, I'm trying to remember how many schools are not on board. It's maybe 4 or 5 of the 26 that are not on board with the pay survey. So.
Well, thank you.
This is the younger kids too. So that substance use tends to increase as we go into the 10th through 12th grade. So. Thank you for your question.
Any other questions for Stephanie?
This is Charlotte from Wayne County.
Hi.
You said this data is mostly middle school students?
It's middle and high school, yeah. It seems like we've implemented it in more of the middle school. Not all my liaisons are on board yet using it 100%.
Okay, so most of the students that where this data comes from are the middle school age.
Can we go back to that slide there? There we go. Yeah, it's a mix. We generally have a lot more high school referrals than we do middle school.
20, that's 30.
So actually, yeah, it looks like if we add the numbers up, there's more high school. It just looks like there's a higher for 13-year-olds, but we do assess more high school.
So once with that 6% substance abuse, once that is made known, then what happens with that information regarding the kids who are where it's indicated that they are using substance? Is that substance use or substance abuse? I heard something earlier.
So that's substance abuse. The scale measure substance abuse measures use and impairment, which makes it a substance abuse. Substance usage is in a scale that's actually recorded, but you can note that via the results. So you're gonna have a lower percentage of substance abuse. The usage is going to be much higher.
So that's something we have to watch the confidentiality with addressing that just with the students themselves, unless we get releases signed to disclose to the school or their parents.
Can you say more about that, what you just said? I wasn't sure what you...
Drug and alcohol confidentiality, information about that.
Right.
We need to be careful with that, with getting permission to speak with the parents or the school, the FAP team.
Right.
Most kids are on board, but we have to get written permission.
So,
but if we're reviewing that with the students and recommending from that. The liaisons, sometimes we have a mental health liaison, sometimes we have a drug and alcohol liaison, sometimes we have dual in each district. So they may then suggest to that student that they would recommend that they meet with the other counselor for that.
I see. So with this particular tool, does the student sign a release for any of this information to be shared with parents? How does that work? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the tool. We're a county that's
It's the same with our we use electronic medical records.
Right.
So we have a release. If there are over 14, they sign a release to the SAP team, and then they sign a release to their parents. Those that are under 14, the parents have signed a release for us to talk to the SAP team. All of these kids have signed permission from the school for us to meet with them to perform the assessment.
Right, right. But in terms of sharing the information with parents,
we can we can disclose what's allowed to be disclosed with the drug and alcohol.
Okay.
Confidentiality laws.
Right.
Because these kids can pursue treatment on their own without
right,
their parents.
right. I'm just wondering if the kids have a substance abuse issue, if you ask for a release to talk with the parents.
Oh, we always do. We try our best. We always try to do that, no matter what it is. So, because we want to, like to get the parents on board to help get them involved. Sometimes we need to use a little persuasion with the kids.
Right, right. Okay. I'm just not familiar with the process after the tool is administered. So I will be learning that as we go along. But I thank you for your answers.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great question. That's why we want to have, we have agencies at various points in the process. So it's good for, people who are just coming on to talk to people who have been doing it for a while or who just started. So it's good. It's a good question. Any questions for Stephanie? Additional questions?
Yeah, so Tita, talking about confidentiality in addition to the releases that we use, I mean, isn't it right in the tool where the teen is asked or the child's asked a question, are you willing to have your responses and your results shared with a parent who's with you today? That's another way just to get confirmation of that release. I mean, has anybody ever, challenged or questioned whether, when a student says yes to that within the survey, is that the equivalent of a release? Has anybody looked into that?
Well, as far as that question, yeah, I mean, we asked that in the satisfaction question. That was more so kind of, just giving the student a way to kind of voice their concerns, and it's not necessarily a end all, but it's something that you at least get to see whether the child has said, I do want you to share with my parent or not. Whether what steps you take from that point is really based on your policy and procedure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is Matt, and the this is Matt Briner with PHWorks. Some great discussion going on. Yeah, the initial intent for that question was really just to give a heads up to the person who's reviewing it, to kind of get a sense for the environment or the perception of that patient or student that's completing it, so that they could respect their wishes initially, and then get a feel for what that interaction may be once the parent is brought into the conversation.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
That is, thank you.
Right.